Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss and see the syllabus of class 10th social science. CBSE social science syllabus for class 10. We will see the what are the lessons in our social science, in geography, in polity, and also in history, and also in economics. We'll see all the chapters. What are the chapters in these respective subjects? And here you can see here. This is the textbook. This is the textbook. Social Science, Contemporary India 2, textbook in Geography for class 10th, and this is textbook in Political Science for class 10th, Democratic Politics 2. It is in continuation to the ninth class. In the ninth class, we have studied Democratic Politics 1, in which we have discussed so many things related to the democratic politics. This is the textbook for Political Science for class 10th, and you can see here this is the textbook in history for class 10th. India and the contemporary world 2. Again, it is in continuation to the class 9th history. Class 9th history. And coming to the economics, social science textbook for class 10th. Understanding economic development. Understanding economic development. And this subject of economics gets introduced to in the class of ninth. In the ninth class, this subject of economics started. And in continuation to this line, we have again understanding economic development. That is the textbook for economics. Textbook for economics. Let us also see what is the weightage. What is the weightage for the board examination? What is the board for the board examination? You can see here. So these are the four textbooks: geography, political science, history, and also economics. And each subject, geography carries 20 marks, and this po- political science carries 20 marks, and history carries 20 marks, economics carries 20 marks. So the total is 80 marks. So we have the board exam for a total of 80 marks. 80 marks. Okay, the total marks are 80. So first, let us start with history. Let us start with history. Let us start with history. History, India and the contemporary world. You can see here there are three sections. First one, events and processes. Second one, livelihoods and economies and societies. Third section, everyday life, culture and politics. Culture and politics. From these three sections, in our history textbook, we have five chapters. There are five chapters in the history. The first one is the rise of nationalism in Europe. The rise of nationalism in Europe. Second one, nationalism in India. And the third lesson, the making of a global world. Fourth lesson, the age of industrialization. And the fifth one, print culture and the modern world. And the modern world. And one thing you have to remember here. So the total marks allocated for this history is 20 marks. In this 20 marks, 2 marks are allocated for map pointing. That means from our history, we get 2 marks. 2 marks are allocated for map pointing section. Map pointing section. And in the examination perspective, so what are the lessons important? From which lessons the board exam is going to be conducted? So first lesson will come in the board exam, and also the second lesson, nationalism in India. And coming to the third lesson, the making of a global world. The making of a global world. Here, so there are only few topics. Those few topics are to be evaluated in the board exam. So those topics are 1 to 1.3, pre-modern world to conquest, disease and trade. Only this 1 to 1.3, 1.3 subtopics are evaluated in the board examination, and the remaining topics will not come in the board examination. Okay, and from this chapter, the remaining things, interdisciplinary project as part of multiple assessment. So, as part of the multiple assessment, that is assessed internally assessed for 5 marks. You can see here subtopics 2 to 4.4, the 19th century, that means year 1815 to 1914, to the end of the Bretton Woods and the beginning of the globalization. These topics, these topics are internally assessed. These topics are internally assessed for 5 marks as part of the interdisciplinary project. Interdisciplinary project. That means, so in a board exam, from this the making of a global world, only 1 to 1.3, that is pre-modern world to conquest, disease and trade. Only these topics are evaluated in the board examination. Okay, students. Next, moving further, coming to this age of industrialization. Coming to this age of industrialization. So this age of industrialization will not be evaluated in the board examination. So it is to be assessed as part of the periodic assessment only. Periodic assessment only. This age of industrialization, it is assessed as part of the periodic test only. Periodic test. Okay. And coming to the print culture and the modern world. Print culture and the modern world. Print culture and modern world. This chapter will be evaluated in the board examination. Evaluated in the board examination. Okay. That means here, uh, so this the rise of nationalism in Europe, nationalism in India, and print culture and modern world. These three chapters are totally evaluated in the board examination. And coming to this, the making of global world, only the subtopics 1 to 1.3 to be evaluated in the board examination. Okay. And this complete chapter, this complete chapter, this complete chapter of age of industrialization, it is to be assessed as periodic test only, periodic assessment only. Okay. Clear here? So hope it is clear for all. Okay. So this is with respect to the history. This is with respect to the history. And I will also tell you that from what are the important things we have to see with respect to the map pointing to secure these 2 marks in the map pointing from the history. So we have some map items provided by the Cbse. I will also tell you those things which are important in the map pointing perspective. Okay, let us move further. And this is the political science, democratic politics. So let us see first what are the chapters, how many chapters are there. Okay, there are 5 chapters are there in this chapter. The first one is power sharing, second one federalism, gender, religion and caste, third one, and the fourth one political parties. Fourth one, political politics. And the fifth one is outcomes of democracy. Outcomes of democracy. So you can see here, it is democratic politics. Democratic politics. It is in continuation to the ninth class democratic politics one. Okay. These only these 5 lessons, and all these 5 lessons. Okay. All these five lessons will be evaluated in the board examination. No exemption for any lesson. All these 5 lessons. Okay. And from these 5 lessons, 20 marks. 20 marks. For 20 marks, so from this democratic politics will be evaluated. Okay, and these are very interesting and easy chapters. Okay, so in the power sharing, we will see what is the importance of power sharing and what is the need. What is the need of power sharing? Okay, and how the power is shared in our country, India. Okay, and coming here, the second one, federalism. So what do we mean by federalism? Actually, this federalism is an institutional mechanism to accommodate two set of parties. That means two levels of government. So in our country, India, how we are following this principle of federalism, and also we'll see this gender, religion, and caste. What is the rule of caste in the Indian politics, religion? Okay, we'll see all these things. And coming to these political parties, what are the political parties? What is the importance of political parties in democracy? Okay, and the last chapter is outcomes of democracy. So what benefit we are getting out of democracy? Okay, so we'll discuss all these things in detail. So the weightage with respect to this political science is 20 marks. 20 marks are allocated. 20 marks are allocated. Okay, clear. Let us move further. Yes, this is with respect to the economics, understanding economic development. Understanding economic development. Okay, and here we have 5 chapters. The first chapter is the development, and the second one, sectors of Indian economy. So in the this first chapter, development. So we'll start with what is development. What is development, and what are the development goals of different sections of the people? Are all the people are having the same developmental goals? Okay, and how to compare different countries in terms of development. In terms of development, we'll see all these things in detail when we discuss this chapter. And coming to the second sectors of Indian economy, sectors of Indian economy. Okay, so there are some sectors like primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. Okay, and what is the importance of all these three sectors, and what are the activities that comes under primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector, and uh, which sector is contributing more to the national income or the gross domestic product of our country. We'll discuss all these things in detail in this chapter. Okay, and third chapter, money and credit, money and credit. So in this, we'll see what is money and what is the role of banks, what is the role of banks in the economy. We'll see all those things in detail when we discuss this chapter. Okay, and the fourth chapter is globalization, globalization and the Indian economy. In this chapter, we'll see what is globalization. Sorry, what is globalization? Okay, and what is the effect of globalization on the Indian economy? We'll see all these things in detail when we discuss this chapter. And coming to this, consumer rights, consumer rights. So in this, we'll see what are the rights available for the consumers. Okay, and with respect to the board exam, in the board examination perspective, and from this economics also. So 20 marks are allocated for this economic subject, understanding economic development. So here, so you can see here, just wait. Uh, so this chapter development, that chapter, just wait. So this development chapter, so it will come in the board examination completely. It will come in the board examination, evaluated in the board exam, and also sectors of Indian economy also evaluated in the board examination. Total chapter, and also money and credit also completely evaluated in the board examination. Board examination. But here, this fourth chapter, globalization and the Indian economy, globalization in the Indian economy. So you can see here, not the total chapter is evaluated in the board examination. Only from this globalization to the topics that are to be evaluated in the board examination are the first topic, what is globalization, and factors that have enabled globalization. What are the factors? What are the factors responsible for the uh, occurrence of this globalization? Okay, only these topics. What is globalization and factors that have enabled globalization? Only these two topics will be evaluated in the board examination. In the board examination. Okay, and and this chapter, some things are allocated internally assessed for 5 marks interdisciplinary project as part of the multiple assessment from this globalization chapter only. Okay, these are the topics: production across the countries, production across the countries, Chinese toys in India, World Trade Organization, the struggle for a fair globalization, the struggle for a fair globalization. These topics are internally assessed in the form of interdisciplinary project. Okay, and one more thing, this last chapter, just wait, this last chapter, that is, you can see here, this consumer rights. So it is only project work, project work. This chapter will not be evaluated in the board examination. Okay, this consumer rights, only project work, only project work. This is with respect to the subject of economics. And the last one here, geography. So this geography, we have 7 lessons. In this geography, we have 7 lessons. The first one is resources and development. Second chapter, forest and wildlife resources. Third one, water resources. Fourth one, agriculture. Fifth one, minerals and energy resources. Sixth one, manufacturing industries. And the seventh chapter, the lifelines of national economy. The lifelines of national economy. Okay. And in the examination perspective, in the board examination perspective, all these lessons, first lesson, from first lesson, from first lesson to sixth lesson, all these lessons will be evaluated in the board examination. All these lessons will be evaluated in the board examination. 6 lessons. And coming to the seventh lesson, lifelines of national economy. Lifelines of national economy. You can see here, here only map pointing to be evaluated in the board examination from this chapter, only map pointing. And also interdisciplinary project as part of multiple assessment, internally assessed for 5 marks. Okay, so that means this chapter internally assessed for 5 marks. And also map pointing will question will come from this lesson. Map pointing question will come from this lesson in the board examination, okay. So the total marks allocated are 20 marks are allocated. So in this 20 marks, so 17 marks are theory, and 3 marks so in the form of map id, okay. And what are the things that are important, the list of map items that are important in the board examination perspective, I will also uh, tell you what are important in the with respect to the map pointing, so this is the overall, syllabus, our class 10th social science syllabus, and weightage in the board examination. Okay, hope you all the students understood what is what is there, what in our class 10th social science, and what is the marks allocation in the board examination. Okay, thank you.